Well, thank you again, President Hillman, and thank you, Texas Baptist. It's going on 4 years now that I've had the privilege of serving alongside you, and I'm honored by that. Truly am honored by it, humbled by it. I don't think you could have chosen anyone who would be genuinely more humbled and to be in this position than me. I have learned in these going on 4 years, almost 4 years, this is a challenging job. So I have to live in Dallas. I'm not a city person. I'm from La Mesa, Texas. So Kathleen and I are adjusting to life in the city, but it's a challenge. A lot of people live here. Each and every one of them has their own car. But we're adjusting, and it's a blessing. My predecessors are here. I've seen them. Dr. Everett, I see over here now, and saw Dr. Wade earlier and Dr. Pinson. 3 men I greatly, greatly admire. I guess each one of them tried to tell me there was a busy schedule involved here in this work. They were right. A lot of travel. Texas is a big place. But I enjoy it. I love it. I like telling our story. But these are challenging times. Tremendous diversity in Texas right now. Cultural diversity, ethnic diversity, diversity of opinions, diversity of religion. I've told a number of you a little story about that. 1 year ago, this coming Wednesday night, I was invited to be on a religious panel at Texas A&M. They're everywhere. It was a room of about 400 college students who'd come for that religious panel for all kinds of reasons. Some curious, some desperate, some just seeking answers. But here's who the panel was. On the far end of the table was a Buddhist monk. And next to him was a Muslim imam. And next to him was an atheist. And next to him was a Jewish rabbi. And next to him was a Mormon bishop. And then next to him, representing, as they said when they called me, all of Christianity, yours truly. But that's just a small glimpse of the religious diversity in Texas. But I took the opportunity to put out there for all those students and all of these others who we are and what we believe. And I said, I really can't speak for everybody here, but I know what I believe. So I believe Jesus Christ was born of a virgin. And I believe he lived a perfect life. And I believe he died on the cross at Calvary and was buried in a tomb. And I believe he was raised again by the power of God. And I believe that he has ascended and is sitting at the right hand of the throne of God. And I believe that he is coming again one day to receive all of us unto himself who believe all of that about him. And I invite all of you students to explore and examine and come to believe the truth of Jesus Christ. In the midst of all the challenges, though, there are amazing blessings. And that's what I want to talk about for these next couple of minutes. I am grateful. I am grateful to be a Texas Baptist. My parents raised me a Texas Baptist. It's all I know. Thank goodness. But I'm grateful that so many of you have given me the opportunity to preach in your church, speak at your association or other events in your area. I am grateful for that. And I'd love to come to your church if I haven't been, or come back. Not every Sunday, but most Sundays. I'm better than nothing. But Kathleen and I have learned that every Sunday is different. Every church is fascinating, and everyone is different from the one before. You go to your church Sunday after Sunday, as I did for all of those years as a pastor. You kind of get into a little idea that everybody worships like this. That is not true. Texas Baptist worship, do ministry, and share the gospel right now in 69 different languages. Praise the Lord for that. Thank you for allowing me to fill your pulpits, preach and speak in your churches. I'm honored by that. I want to thank you for your willingness to serve alongside us. Just moments ago, we elected many of you to serve on our boards and our councils and our commissions. When I was a pastor, I had opportunities to do some of that. And so I know that it takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes energy, and it takes some sacrifice. And so on behalf of all of us, I want to say to those of you who have agreed to serve, thank you. We probably don't say that enough, but I do thank you. I'm grateful for it. And I want to say thank you for the wonderful way you have embraced the changes that we've embarked upon. Well, the wonderful way most of you have embraced the changes that we've experienced in the past year or so. A quick report on all of that. Under the leadership of Dr. Gus Reyes, all of our Christian Life Commission now is in Austin. In this past legislative session, that proved to be a real blessing. Thank you for embracing that with us. In January, our historical collection will be relocated to a beautifully newly refurbished building in Waco. Thank you for embracing that, and I hope you'll stop and visit that facility after January. And we've moved to a new place. For more than 25 years, our older Baptist building served us wonderfully well. No one's more grateful for the leadership of Dr. Pinson and I, the historic Texas Baptist who made that happen, than me. I acknowledge that was a God-given moment and event and place. But things change. Texas Baptists change. Texas changes. And we're trying to change to adjust to all that is happening around us, and we've moved to a new place. We're now across from Presbyterian Hospital. We lease 2 floors out of a 14-story building. We have our name on the top of the building that says Texas Baptist. You can find us, and I invite you to come and visit us. Anytime tomorrow you want to go down Central Expressway, if you choose to do so, exit Walnut Hill, turn east, you'll see our name on the top of a building, go to floor 12 and take a tour. It is your space. It's been beautifully redone. We're blessed. It's functional. But thank you for embracing that change. So for your willingness to serve and for your willingness to embrace the changes around us, I just want to say thank you. I want to be grateful for the difference we're making in Texas. I can't give all the examples. I would like to do that, but I can't. But I just want to say one quick little piece here. Today, in our 5-year church starting pipeline from churches that were approved, 9 of them last Thursday for funding, to churches that this month will drop off of that cycle. We, Texas Baptists, have 433 churches in that church starting pipeline that you helped fund. Thank you. You know, around the country, with all the organizations that start churches, they use a 5-year window for church start success. And after 5 years, if a church is still going, that church start is considered successful. And across the country, the church start success rate is just under 40%, except Texas Baptist, and our church start success rate is 97%. When you participate with Texas Baptist in church starting, you are a part of the most effective, the most efficient church starting enterprise, not in Texas, not in the country, but in the world. Thank you for that. We are making a difference. We're having an impact. Our Christian Life Commission in Austin, advocating day in and day out during the legislative session and even when the legislature is not in session. They are making a difference on our behalf for causes that are good, for causes that are right. They are a voice of the voiceless. They speak for fairness and justice. And I'm grateful for the impact that they make. That impact is being felt beyond just Texas. Just know, you, Texas Baptist, through the CLC, continue to have an impact. I'm grateful for the lives we're touching. I'll give you just one example of that. The Baptist Student Ministries, we talked about that earlier. But this fall, just this fall, you, Texas Baptist, we have a collegiate ministry going on 115 college and university campuses in Texas. You know, when I was raising my children, I probably would have told you that the most vulnerable and the most impressionable in society were 4, 5, and 6 years old, and I would have been wrong about that. The most vulnerable and the most impressionable society today are 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. And no one, there's not a convention anywhere in this state or other states that is having the impact on the college and university campus like Texas Baptist. We make a difference. This year, we'll send out more than 450 Go Now missionaries. Those are our leaders of the future. Those are our pastors and staff members and missionaries of the future. And last March, and again this March, I'll join the 1,000 BSM Beach Reach missionaries on the beach at South Padre Island, where I'm telling you, they open the door of a church van. They welcome in a college student from who knows where. And in just a moment's time, under God's grace and His provision, they're talking about spiritual things. And as soon as they can, they take those students to the cross. Do you know Jesus? I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for some of our new ventures. I want to introduce a couple of people to you. I've asked them to try to show up here. David Scott, are you here? Come on up. You know about disaster relief done by the Texas Baptist men Praise God, thank the Lord for Texas Baptist men. But after that emergency disaster relief, you and me, we walk alongside communities. Unfortunately, there are far too many of those in our Texas Baptist life right now, experiencing disasters of floods and fires and tornadoes and hurricanes. But we have disaster recovery, and we have a new venture for student-led disaster recovery. That's led by David Scott. Your students, your high school students, can be involved in disaster recovery. David, can you in like 15 or 20 seconds invite them to be a part, maybe 30?
I absolutely can do that. In fact, we would be delighted to help you mobilize your students, and not just your high school students. We'll take them as long as they've completed 6th grade or at least 12 years of age. We mobilize the whole youth group all the way up through college, and we'd be delighted to have your students join us this summer or even at spring break. We have a couple efforts going on in the San Marcos and Austin area at spring break, and lots of opportunities next summer for disaster recovery as well as community rehab. So we're excited about that.
Amen. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, my former administrative assistant, Elizabeth Bedrisky, took upon a new venture. She moved to San Antonio to work outside the box and outside the church. And what she does, and I can't explain it all, and certainly she can't even in these next few seconds, but she works with primarily the millennial generation of churched, engaging the unchurched of that same generation in collaborative efforts for societal change. And what is advocacy at the beginning all of a sudden becomes evangelism. It's outside the church. Elizabeth, quickly, can you say something about that?
Yes, I'm so excited about what's going on in South Texas and in San Antonio, and how the culture of that area of the state is beginning to change the climate of the entire state. And those are exciting things. And being part of working with emerging generations in innovative and creative ways and partnerships with organizations that are teaching us to think creatively and outside our normal box of ministry. There's exciting missional efforts taking place. I'd love to talk with you further about what those things are and have you be part of them as well.
Can I encourage you? Invite Elizabeth to your church to talk to your younger generation about what this could be, not just in San Antonio, but in your community. It's making a difference. Thank you for embracing something outside the box and outside the church for the sake of the gospel. Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm grateful for new people who've agreed to step up and walk alongside us in leadership. My friend Delvin Atchison. Come here, Brother Delvin. You know, this past spring we combined our evangelism and our discipleship teams together to form one Great Commission team, telling people about Jesus and raising them up into mature faith. We needed a leader for that team, and God led us to this man. Leading the Great Commission team is my friend, Dr. Delvin Atchison. Say a quick word, my friend.
Who ever heard of the foolishness of putting evangelism and disciple? Who would ever say that? Jesus did. And it is our goal to use Texas Baptist to change the world. We invite you to join us as we use Texas Baptist, this great convention, to share the Great Commission. Thank you, Dr. Hardage, for the honor.
Thank you. We've talked just a little bit about the cooperative program. I'm also grateful for some people on our staff who've agreed to take new positions. Dr. Liebram. Chris Liebram has served Texas Baptist for 30 years. But this past spring, he agreed to take on a new assignment. I think it's an assignment that he's been energized by. I think it's an assignment that he's been called to talk to our Texas Baptist family about what we do in and through the cooperative program. Dr. Lieberman.
Well, Dr. Hardage has talked about some statistics. Let me tell a quick story, can I? Mm-hmm. This is a story that took place, excuse my voice, I'm kind of cold. Back during Depression years in West Texas, Big Spring, Texas, there was a young girl. Her name was Ella Mae Taylor, 8 years of age. She became an orphan. The Taylors weren't Baptist, they weren't Christian, but the pastor of the East 4th Street Baptist Church in Big Spring, Texas, back during those years, knew about an orphanage that Texas Baptists started through their cooperative giving. The pastor of East 4th Street Baptist Church took Ella Taylor and her younger brother to Dallas and placed her at the Buckner Orphans Home at 8 years of age back around the 1930s. Well, coincidentally, with just a few months of this, in East Texas, Kilgore, there was a young boy named James. He was standing at the edge of the grave of his father. His mother had died a year previously. They lived in Arkansas. They moved to Texas to start over. Just didn't happen that way. So there he was, no mother, no father. Pastor of the First Baptist Church in Kilgore, Texas, did the same exact thing. He knew about Buckner Orphans Home. Texas Baptists had started that together. He took James and his younger brother to Dallas. So James and Ella, 8 years of age, came to Buckner within just a few months of each other. Obviously, they would get to know each other for those 10 years that they were at Buckner. And when they graduated from high school, which was when you left the orphanage, soon after that, they were married. Moved to East Dallas, not too far from the old Baptist building, Baylor Hospital. Rented a house, joined the Munger Place Baptist Church. They began their life and their family together. And you know what was a product of their marriage just a few years later? Me. I've just told you the story of my mom and dad. Yeah. And when I saw you offering us to say something, I wrote a few notes, and they're numbers. He told about some numbers, but that's a real story. And it's just one of thousands of stories that you've been a part of for years, changing the lives of people in Texas and around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lieberman. Would you go back to your church and be an advocate for Texas Baptist Cooperative Program giving? We need you. I am grateful for the next generation of missionaries and ministers. I had a chance a week ago to speak in a class at Truett Seminary. Talked about our work. And when I finished, I was so encouraged by the enthusiasm that you could see in the eyes, and the enthusiasm you could hear in the voice of the students. I'm grateful for the next generation who's beginning to get a glimpse of this practice and this power of cooperation, this convention we call Texas Baptist. Finally, and I was taught in seminary never to say that word. So, in conclusion, I am grateful for our Texas Baptist institutions. You know, there is not a convention anywhere, nationally or on a state level, there's not a convention anywhere that has institutions like Texas Baptist has. We are blessed with the finest institutions in this country right here in Texas. I happen to think that's one of our Texas Baptist distinctives. And next year, at our annual convention, at our annual meeting, we will highlight the work, the ministry, the history, the future of our Texas Baptist institutions. We are blessed by them. They are making a difference. They're having an impact. They're training the next generation. Let's raise them up, and we'll highlight them at our next convention. Texas Baptist, you're a blessing to me. I never, ever could have imagined that I'd be standing here today in the footsteps of Bill Pinson and Charles Wade. And I see you, Charles. Randall Everett. Others before them. I'm from Lamesa, Texas. I'm the son of Texas Baptist. I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you.